I thought I was smart. 63 years old, retired, finally free. I bought land in paradise, or so I thought. But in Thailand, foreigners can't own land. So I put it in her name. She said she loved me. She said we'd build our life together. I believed her, and now I have nothing. If our stories resonate with you, don't forget to like, comment, and tell us where you're watching from. This story was shared with us by one of our viewers. The first thing I noticed when I stepped off the plane in Phuket was the air. Warm, thick, heavy with salt and something else I couldn't name. Freedom, maybe, or possibility. I stood outside the airport with my 2 suitcases and felt the weight lift off my shoulders for the first time in 8 years. 8 years since the divorce. 8 years of 12-hour shifts, fixing broken circuits in other people's homes while my own life stayed dark. I'd sold my house in Sacramento 3 weeks earlier. Signed the papers, closed the bank account, bought a one-way ticket. $380,000 in my savings account, and no one left in California who cared if I stayed or went. My ex-wife had remarried. My friends had moved on. I had nothing holding me there anymore, so I left. I rented a small apartment near Kauta Beach. It wasn't much. 1 bedroom, a narrow balcony that looked out over a parking lot and a sliver of ocean if I leaned far enough to the right. But it was mine. No mortgage, no memories. Just me and the sound of the waves at night. For the first few weeks, I didn't do much. I walked on the beach in the mornings. I ate street food I couldn't pronounce. I watched the sunset from my balcony with a beer in my hand and thought about what I wanted next. I'd spent my whole life working, fixing things, saving money, never spending it on anything that mattered. Now I had the money. Now I had the time. I wanted something permanent, something real. I wanted land, a house by the ocean, a place I could call home for the rest of my life. That's when I walked into the real estate office on Rat Thit Road. It was a small place, tucked between a laundromat and a massage parlor. The sign said Phuket Property Solutions in faded English letters. I almost walked past it, but something made me stop. I opened the door and stepped inside. The air conditioning hit me like a wall. A woman sat behind a desk near the back, typing on a laptop. She looked up when I entered and smiled. Not the polite smile you give strangers, a real one, like she was genuinely happy to see me. "Hello," she said. Her English was clear, only slightly accented. "Can I help you?" I walked over to her desk. "I'm looking to buy some land. Maybe build a house." She stood up and extended her hand. "My name is Pawini, but everyone calls me Pim. Please sit down." I sat. She poured me a glass of cold water from a dispenser in the corner and set it in front of me. Then she sat across from me, folding her hands on the desk. She was maybe late 30s, early 40s. Dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. Simple dress. No wedding ring. She had kind eyes. That's what I remember most. Her eyes looked kind. "So," she said, "tell me what you're looking for." I told her. I told her about my retirement, about selling my house, about wanting something peaceful near the water. I told her I had a budget. Not unlimited, but enough. She listened. Really listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't check her phone. She just nodded and smiled and made me feel like what I was saying mattered. "I think I can help you," she said when I finished. "There are some beautiful properties near Rawai. Ocean view, quiet, not too far from town. Would you like to see some?" "Yes," I said. "I'd like that." We spent the next 2 hours driving around in her small white Toyota. She showed me 3 different plots of land. All of them were nice. But the third one made me stop and stare. It was on a hillside overlooking the Andaman Sea. The land was flat enough to build on, but elevated enough to see the water. Coconut trees lined the edges. The neighborhood was quiet. A few houses scattered along the road, but not crowded. Not noisy. I stood there in the afternoon sun and imagined waking up every morning to that view. I imagined building a small house. Nothing fancy, just a place that was mine. "How much?" I asked. Pim smiled. "This one is 3.2 million baht, about 95,000 US dollars. I nodded slowly. That was less than I'd expected. "Can I think about it?" "Of course," she said. "Take your time." But I didn't need much time. I already knew. This was it. This was the place. On the drive back to the office, I kept looking out the window at the ocean. I felt something I hadn't felt in years, hope. "Can I ask you something?" Pim said as we pulled into the parking lot. "Sure. Are you here alone?" I hesitated. "Yeah, divorced, no kids. Just me." She nodded slowly. "That must be hard." "It was," I said, "but I'm getting used to it." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she smiled again. "Well, if you need anything while you're here, a restaurant recommendation, a place to get your car fixed, anything, you can call me. I know it can be lonely starting over in a new place." I thanked her, and I meant it. I walked back to my apartment that night, feeling lighter than I had in months, maybe years. Over the next 2 weeks, Pim and I started spending more time together. It wasn't planned. At first, it was just follow-up questions about the land. She'd call me to give updates on permits, zoning regulations, things like that. Then one day she asked if I wanted to get coffee. We met at a small cafe near Shalong Pier. We talked for 3 hours. She told me about her life. She was a single mum. Her daughter was 15, living up country with Pim's mother while she finished school. Pim had been married once, but it ended badly. He left her with nothing. She'd been working in real estate for 6 years, trying to build something stable for her daughter. She spoke about her struggles without self-pity. Just facts, just honesty. "It's hard," she said, stirring her iced coffee. "Raising a child alone, trying to save money, but I manage." I told her about my divorce, about the years of loneliness, about feeling invisible. She listened the same way she had that first day in her office. Like I mattered. "So you're not invisible, Stanley," she said quietly. "You're just in the wrong place. Or you were. Maybe now you're in the right one." Something shifted between us that afternoon. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't sudden. It was just a quiet understanding. We started seeing each other more often. Dinners by the water, long drives along the coast. She showed me parts of Phuket I never would have found on my own. Hidden beaches, small temples, local markets where tourists didn't go. I felt myself opening up in ways I hadn't in years. I laughed more. I talked more. I felt less alone. One night we sat on the beach near Kata watching the sunset. The sky was orange and pink, fading to purple at the edges. The waves were gentle. She sat close to me, her shoulder brushing mine. "Stanley," she said softly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you still want to buy that land?" I looked at her. "Yeah, I do. I've been thinking about it every day." She nodded slowly. "I want to help you, but there's something you need to know first." "What is it?" She took a breath. "In Thailand, foreigners can't own land. Only buildings. The land itself must be owned by a Thai citizen." I felt my stomach tighten. "What does that mean?" "It means if you want to buy that land, it has to be in a Thai person's name, legally. There are ways to do it. You can set up a company. You can lease it long-term. Or," she paused, "or you can buy it under the name of someone you trust." I stared at her. "Someone I trust?" "Yes." "Like who?" She looked at me. Her eyes were soft, vulnerable. "Like me." I didn't say anything for a long time. I just sat there listening to the waves. My mind was racing. I barely knew this woman. We'd spent time together, sure. We'd talked. We'd laughed. But putting $100,000 in her name? That was insane. That was reckless. That was exactly the kind of thing a lonely man does when he's desperate for connection. "Stanley," she said quietly, "I know this is a big ask. I know you don't know me very well. But I would never hurt you. I promise. You can trust me." "How do I know that?" I said. My voice came out harsher than I meant it to. She flinched. "You don't, not for sure. But I'm telling you the truth. If you want this land, this is the only way. And I want to help you. Because..." She stopped. "Because what?" She looked down at her hands. "Because I care about you." My chest tightened. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. I'd been alone for so long. I'd felt invisible for so long. And here was this woman, beautiful and kind, telling me she cared, telling me she wanted to help, telling me I could trust her. "Okay," I said. She looked up. "Okay?" "Yeah, let's do it." She smiled. And then she leaned over and kissed me. Soft, warm, real. I kissed her back. And for the first time in 8 years, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. 2 weeks later, we went to the land office. Pim drove. I sat in the passenger seat, my hands folded in my lap, my stomach in knots. She reached over and squeezed my hand. "It's going to be fine," she said. "I promise." The land office was a low concrete building with a tin roof and too many people inside. We sat in plastic chairs and waited. A clerk called Pim's name. We stood and walked to the counter. The clerk was an older man, maybe 50, with glasses and a tired expression. He spoke to Pim in rapid Thai. She nodded and responded. Then she turned to me. "He needs you to sign here," she said, pointing to a line on a document. "This confirms you're transferring the money for the land purchase." I looked at the paper. It was in Thai. I couldn't read a single word. "What does it say?" I asked. She smiled. "It says you're paying 3.5 million baht for the land. The rest is legal language. Standard procedure." 3.5? I thought it was 3.2. "Taxes and fees," she said. "It's normal." I hesitated. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to stop, to ask more questions, to get a translator, to slow down. But I looked at Pim, at her calm smile, at her hand resting gently on my arm, and I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself she wouldn't lie to me. I told myself this was love. This was trust. So I signed. The clerk stamped the document. Pim signed next to my name. Then she handed over her ID card. The clerk typed something into his computer, printed another paper and handed it to her. She folded it carefully and put it in her purse. "That's it?" I asked. "That's it," she said. "The land is officially registered. In your name." "Yes, but it's yours, Stanley. We'll build your house. We'll make this work. I promise." We walked out of the office into the bright afternoon sun. My legs felt weak. My head felt light. I'd just transferred $120,000 into Pim's account that morning. The money was gone. The land was in her name. And I had nothing but her word that it would be okay. That night we celebrated at her apartment. She opened a bottle of champagne. We toasted to the future, to new beginnings, to us. She told me she loved me. I told her I loved her too. We made love on her couch, the lights of Phuket glowing through the window. Afterward I lay there with her head on my chest, listening to her breathe. I should have felt happy, relieved, excited. But all I felt was a cold weight pressing down on my ribs, a voice in the back of my mind whispering, "What did you just do?" I pushed it away. I closed my eyes. I told myself everything was fine. 2 months passed. No construction started. At first, Pim said the contractor was delayed. A job in Krabi was taking longer than expected. I said, okay. I understood. These things happen. Then she said the permits weren't ready. The local government office was backlogged. I said okay again. I was patient. I trusted her. But after 2 months, I started to get nervous. "When do you think we can start?" I asked one evening over dinner. She looked up from her plate. "Soon, I'm working on it. It's been 2 months, Pim." "I know." "I'm sorry. It's just complicated." "What's complicated?" She set down her fork. "Stanley, you have to understand. This is Thailand. Things move slowly. You can't rush the process. I'm not trying to rush. I just want to know what's happening." She sighed. "I'm doing everything I can. You just have to trust me." There was that word again, trust. I nodded. I didn't push. I didn't want to upset her. I didn't want to lose her. A week later, she called me crying. Her voice was shaking. "Stanley, I need your help." My chest tightened. "What's wrong?" "It's my daughter. She's sick. She needs to see a doctor, a specialist. But I don't have the money." "How much do you need?" $15,000. I know it's a lot. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. I didn't hesitate. "I'll transfer it today." "Are you sure?" "Of course." "Your daughter needs help. I'll take care of it." She thanked me through tears. She told me I was the kindest man she'd ever met. She told me she didn't deserve me. I told her she was wrong. I told her we were in this together. I transferred the money that afternoon. $15,000 gone, just like that. But the construction still didn't start. Another month passed. I started asking more questions. I asked to see the land documents. She said they were at her lawyer's office. I asked if we could go together. She got quiet. Then she snapped at me. Why don't you trust me, Stanley? After everything I've done for you, after everything we've been through. I do trust you, I said quickly. I just want to understand what's happening. What's happening is I'm trying to build you a house, and you're making it harder by questioning everything I do. I felt my face go hot. I'm not questioning you. You are, and it hurts. I backed down. I apologized. I told her I was sorry. I told her I loved her. She softened. She kissed me. She told me everything would be okay. But I didn't feel okay. I felt something cold and heavy settling in my stomach. Something I couldn't name. Another 2 weeks passed. She stopped answering my calls as often. She said she was busy. She said work was stressful. I said I understood, but I didn't. I felt her pulling away, and I didn't know how to stop it. One evening I decided to surprise her. I bought flowers from a street vendor and drove to her apartment. It was just after sunset. The sky was purple. The streets were quiet. I parked outside her building and walked up the stairs to her unit. That's when I saw the motorcycle. A black Honda, parked right in front of her door. I stopped. My heart started pounding. I stood there for a long time staring at that bike. Then the door opened. A man stepped out, young Thai, maybe 30. He was smiling, laughing. He said something over his shoulder in Thai. Then Pim appeared in the doorway. She was wearing a robe. Her hair was down. She laughed at something he said, and then she kissed him. Not on the cheek. On the mouth. Long, slow, comfortable. I stood there holding flowers like an idiot. My chest went numb. My legs wouldn't move. I watched them. I watched her kiss him. I watched her smile. I watched her be someone I didn't recognize. Then she saw me. Her eyes met mine across the parking lot. Her face didn't change, no shock. No guilt, no fear. She just looked at me, calm, almost annoyed. She said something to the man in Thai. He glanced at me, shrugged, and walked past me to his motorcycle. He didn't even look at me. He just got on the bike and drove away. Pim walked toward me, slow, steady, like she had all the time in the world. "Stanley," she said. Her voice was flat. "You don't understand." I couldn't speak. My throat was closed. "He's just a friend," she said. I found my voice. It came out cracked. "I just watched you kiss him." She sighed. "You're too jealous. This is why it won't work." "Why what won't work?" "Us this. You want to control me. You want me to be something I'm not." I stared at her. "I gave you everything. I didn't ask you to. You did. You asked me to trust you. You asked me to help you. You asked me for money." She crossed her arms. "And I'm grateful. But that doesn't mean you own me." "I never said I did." "Then why are you here? Why are you following me?" "I'm not following you. I just wanted to surprise you." "Well, congratulations." "You did." She turned and walked back to her apartment. I stood there with the flowers in my hand. The petals were already wilting in the heat. I dropped them on the ground and walked back to my car. I sat in the driver's seat for an hour. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there staring at nothing, feeling the world collapse around me. The next morning I called a lawyer. I found his name on an expat forum. Peter Grimshaw, British guy, been in Thailand for 20 years. His office was in Phuket town above a pharmacy. I climbed the narrow stairs and knocked on the door. A voice called out, "Come in." Peter was in his 50s, balding, with a thick grey beard and tired eyes. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. I sat. I told him everything. The land purchase, the money transfers, the promises, the lies. I showed him the bank statements, the text messages, the photos of the land. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and rubbed his face. "Mate," he said, "I'm going to be straight with you. You're fucked." I felt my stomach drop. "What do you mean?" "The land is in her name. Legally, it's hers. You can try to prove a relationship, maybe argue there was an implied agreement, but without a marriage certificate or a written contract, you've got almost nothing. There has to be something I can do." He shook his head. "You can sue. It'll take years, cost you more money, and you'll probably lose. Thai courts don't look kindly on foreigners trying to claim land through loopholes. They see it as trying to circumvent the law. So I just lose everything? Most likely, yeah. I felt my legs go weak. $135,000. Plus legal fees if you try to fight it. He leaned forward. Look, I'm sorry. I've seen this happen 100 times. Lonely expat, kind local woman, big promises, empty pockets. It's a tale as old as time. What do I do? You move on. You cut your losses. You learn from it. I trusted her, I know. That's why it worked. I left his office feeling like I was underwater. Everything was muffled, distant. I walked through the streets of Phuket town without seeing anything. I got back to my apartment and sat on the balcony. The ocean was grey. The sky was grey. Everything felt grey. I called Pim that night. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just said I gave you everything. My savings, my trust, my future. Was any of it real? She was silent for a long time. Then she said, Stanley, you were kind, but you were also lonely, and lonely men make bad decisions. Did you ever love me? Another pause. I liked you. I needed help. You gave it. That's all. What about the land? It's mine legally, you knew that. I trusted you. That was your mistake, and then she hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand. The line was dead. The connection was gone. I set the phone down and stared at the ocean. I had $240,000 left in my account. No land, no house, no future, just the sound of the waves and the weight of my own stupidity pressing down on my chest like a stone. I thought about leaving. I thought about booking a flight back to California. Starting over, but starting over where? Doing what? I had no house, no job. No one waiting for me. I'd burned that bridge when I sold everything and left. So I stayed. I moved out of the apartment near Kata Beach. Too expensive, too many memories. I found a cheaper place in Phuket town. 1 bedroom, no view, just walls and a fan that didn't work half the time. I started volunteering at a community center near Chalong. They needed someone to teach basic electrical work to local kids. I figured I might as well use the skills I had. The kids were good, curious, respectful. They asked me questions I could actually answer. It felt good to be useful again. Even if it didn't pay, even if it didn't fix anything, I don't date anymore. I don't look at land. I don't dream about the ocean. I go through my days quietly. I teach, I eat, I sleep. Some days I think about Pim. I wonder if she's still with that guy. I wonder if she thinks about me. Probably not. I'm just another name in a long list of men who believed her. Men who gave her money. Men who thought they were special. I wasn't special. I was just convenient. I learned something, though. Love isn't trust, and trust isn't love. They're two different things. I gave both to someone who only wanted one. My money. She didn't want my love. She didn't need my trust. She just needed my bank account. And I gave it to her. Willingly, stupidly, desperately, because I was lonely. Because I wanted to believe. Because I thought I could buy my way into a life that felt real. I'll never make that mistake again. But I'll also never stop wishing I'd been smarter, or luckier, or less alone. I sit on my balcony sometimes in the evenings and watch the sun set over the rooftops of Phuket town. It's not the ocean view I dreamed of. It's not the life I imagined, but it's mine, what's left of it, and maybe that's enough, or maybe it's not. I don't know anymore. I just know I'm still here, still breathing, still trying to figure out what comes next. If anything comes next, the waves still sound the same, the sky still turns orange and pink at sunset. The world keeps moving, and I move with it. One day at a time, one breath at a time, one regret at a time. That's all I have left now, regret, and the quiet knowledge that I'll carry it with me for the rest of my life.